Please, I'd love to just really kind of dive into your story because IT makes a lot of money. Why did you exit out of IT to start taking wedding photography?
No, IT is not really making a lot of money if you're working for other people. And I'm not in a software engineering side, which tends to make a lot more than hardware. I was in a hardware and distribution. So therefore, it wasn't as lucrative as you would as software. I've got a lot of friends that work in software and they make very well living. So anyways, it wasn't bad, but it's just something that when you work every day in a repetitive motion, it gets a little repetitive. And therefore, I kind of thought about, oh, maybe I should try something else. And a friend took a camera and we went out for a few shoots, night shoots, day shoots, car shoots. And it's kind of got me thinking, oh, maybe I should try this. And it just so happened that there's a friend that called me and said, Nick, do you want to shoot a wedding? I'm like, I've never done a wedding. And I did, obviously, with that. And it was a disaster. It was horrible. It wasn't good at all. But it got me thinking, oh, again, this is something very challenging. And I like challenges. And therefore, I kind of jumped into it and started helping other photographers shoot and kind of learn the way and learn the ladder into wedding photography.
Okay, so you were basically apprenticing a little bit because your friend got you into it. That's how you got started, and you did your first wedding, and it was a disaster. Did you get paid for that?
I forgot. I might have got a few $100s out of that.
Actually, which probably forget a little bit.
Maybe. I couldn't remember, but that's about 13 years ago.
13 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow. And so you thought it was challenging, but what made you stick with it? Obviously, it's a brand new skill. A lot of people, they see something new, they're like, oh, I like this, or they can make a lot of money in this, and they do it, and they're like, too hard, not for me. But what made you kept going with it?
You'd be surprised, but I don't actually know a lot of photographers that makes a lot of money. I think it's an interest. It's something that is a very quick reflective of what your creativity is. Most of the jobs that you do, you might not get that appreciation, that immediate gratification from what you have created or done. Say if you've done a big project, when you're done, your boss might come to you and say, hey, good job, right? And give you a raise. Sure. But every time when I finish a photo shoot, almost every time, I see the customer's face when they see their product. I see whether it's good or bad, right? Most of them good. They're very appreciative because it is creating something that they won't necessarily be able to do on their own. And the eyes that we create, the eyes that we bring, the angles that we bring, the experience that we bring, it is essentially different. And most of our couples are not models, and therefore when they see themselves looking very nice, they appreciate it more. But anyways, so the whole story is that I get more appreciation. I get to have myself confidence because I wasn't very confident about myself. So that kind of gave me a big boost in why I wanted to do this.
What about you were you not confident in? Was it self-image? Was it you just felt like you weren't good enough in general or just not good in wedding? Like, where did that lack of self-confidence come from? Because a lot of people in our generation really lack self-confidence in general. They're like, oh, I'm not good enough for mom, and dad's like, oh, you should quit doing this. Funny enough, did your parents say you should quit doing wedding photography? Like, why'd you quit IT? That's probably a lot of conversation a lot of Asians have. Like, it's real.
My parents are very nice. They didn't really pressure me into doing anything else. There are certain relatives that would point fingers and said, you know what, this other cousin of yours, this other relatives is an engineer, is a doctor, is a medical field. It's a very different. It's a lot of high pressure. It's just like any Asian family, I would, or most of them. Mm-hmm. And my parents were awesome. They really didn't pressure me into anything. However, that actually created a more of a suction cup for me where I'm going. I kind of develop. I'm not too sure, but I've never been diagnosed. But it kind of feels like the imposter syndrome, where I'm never good enough for myself or for other people.
Huh.
But that's a positive thing to me. I don't know, maybe I don't have it, but I never feel I'm satisfying myself enough. I always want to keep improving. So even if I shot something that's great, I feel like it's great. 2 weeks after, I come back to it and say, I could have done that better. Right. I think most of the photographers that we see, they excel in certain areas, have that same drive, and I'm sure you do, and you do, right? You do this channel because you know I want to do better, right? Look at your first video that you've generated. Look at the first interview that you've done. it might have been very different, right? And now you're very successful because, that's experience and you want to do it better. Because if not, then why would you have this setting? You have great lights, you have great interviewees, right? You have great
Exactly.
topics, you network and you have so many followers, like you keep on improving. I think that's one of the things why it kind of kept me going is because the followers, the people that really want to see even more better work is out there. We want to capture that.
So for you, it's more so a pursuit of mastery, what it sounds like. You're trying to get to that point. Obviously, it's very hard to be like, oh, I've mastered it. I don't think you ever get there because everything's always changing. So for you, what would be your next goal? Obviously, you've shown me your portfolio before. Nick has done over 2,000,
1,000.
1,000, over
1,000.
1,000 weddings. And he's been flown out all over the world. He's been flown out to Europe,
Hawaii,
Santorini, everywhere. So he's been flown out. So please walk me through it. Like, how do you get these gigs like where people are willing to fly you out since they're paying for all your flights and accommodation, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting because our 90% of my couples are word of mouth. And it's rarely, but obviously with this, the post-pandemic, it is a little bit trickier because I think most couples do look into Instagram. Now there's a good side and a bad side because we always put our best work in Instagram, and you don't see the negative side of what's in the back. But your question was, sorry, going back to how did it get these gigs is, I think once you immerse yourself into destination wedding, you put your logo there, you put your SEO there, you put your marketing into a destination, people will come and they see the work that are different. Now, however, styles are different too, because there's a lot of photographers doing the same thing and they do very well. There's a lot of different styles. I have a particular style, other photographers is different. So when you are, or whoever is shopping for these photographers, they should really find something that they really love. And once you do, then check out their portfolio, the other portfolios, because going to a destination is not as easy as shooting local, right? We can shoot anywhere in Vancouver with our eyes closed. It says, yep, that's not a problem. It's easy. We know where exactly the sunset goes. We know where the rocks are. We know where the traffic. Sorry, not the traffic, but we know where the. Sorry, cut on that. But anyways, so shooting in Vancouver, we can shoot that eyes closed.
It's familiar. You know what you're doing. You've done it thousands of times already.
Yeah, but when you're at a location that you're unfamiliar with, let's say Japan, right? Then you have to research, well, where is this couple going to? And where is it available for shoot? What are the traditions? What are the things that we should do and should not do? So there's cultural, there's locations, there's the styles, there's the timing, there's the, is it going to be a springtime where the sun's setting earlier? And which direction are we going? Is the traffic good? Does people allow you to shoot there? A lot of questions, a lot of IG research, a lot of Pinterest research, a lot of location research, right? So it's not just, oh, we're going to go shoot, right? In Vancouver, we drive and we start knowing where to go, right? So it is very fun. At the same time, it might be very stressful, but we take that stress away from you because we love doing that research too. Just like when you travel. Some people love doing research and some people love to sit
You're just
back.
learning. You're like, oh, I never knew that.
Yeah. So it's really fun.